Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Podcast 18, Season 2. I am one of your hosts, as always, Sean, John, or Yaka.
I'm Chris.
And it's a lovely morning to see you in this frosty, cold October.
And he's actually in the shirt.
And I'm also still very much half asleep. Well, my boy here has been up since probably, I don't know, what, 7, 8, 7?
6-ish.
6-ish. I crawled out of bed half an hour ago. I'm not even going to lie, it's my day off. I haven't been up more than about 35 minutes. Today, I've got Pizza Hut is moving into administration and has collapsed. We're going to talk about that. One of mine and Chris's favourite restaurants, to be quite honest. That gives you an indication we're 90s kids. A third abuse survivor has resigned from the role of the government inquiry into grooming gangs. This is not looking good for the Prime Minister. Boris Johnson has left the COVID inquiry in a hurry. Good fucking riddance. I really dislike that man. And Labour is feeling the heat at the critical Welsh by-elections. Over at Chris.
MPs clash over digital ID. The latest tactic on to bring digital ID in. It's via the corporations. It's going to be my first topic of the day. Inflation sticking at 3.8%. That's looking good. Foreign nationals benefit figure. I found this in the lovely news, so I was like, this has been an interesting one. It's one to reflect. I'm on the fence with it at the moment. Obviously, you guys love to hear what you think about it.
To be fair, I suspect it's not as bad as what Chris was probably thinking it was going to be.
No. It's worse.
Oh. Okay.
Rachel Reeves' latest on the budget.
I swear to Christ, we make it as podcast, this motherfucker's going to ruin her career. He hates her that much.
I will take you out.
I'm serious. I'm serious.
Your career, that is, nothing else.
Yeah. I wouldn't have been loud. We're not into that. I want to do to Johnson what he wants to do to Rachel Reeves now. That man, I get twitches. I used to work in the care industry, Britain, and I got a problem with that bastard Boris Johnson. So let's get to start with what I think is probably one of the most important articles of both of our pages today. Pizza Hut is closing! No! The locations of Pizza Hut's restaurants and delivery sites to close across the UK have been revealed. Some 1,210 people will be made redundant and 68 restaurants in places including Brighton, Hull, Bristol, Leeds, Edinburgh shut their doors in the coming weeks. We're included here in Gloucester.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's a fucking, it's a bloodletting.
All we had was the little takeaway places.
I know. 11
Where am I going to have to go to get my deep pan margarita now?
Honey, that's mad. Like, we're 90s kids, man. Where are you taking out pizzas? And Domino's in fucking trouble too. Domino's is apparently in some serious financial trouble as well. And they advanced into the tech system because so many businesses are now doing pizzas as their bonus. Do you know what I'm saying? Many chicken shops are doing pizzas as just adding pizza cookers into it.
I'm trying to think of like the side chicken fried street vendor that doesn't do pizza as well.
Yeah, I know. It's mad. And that's why they're so having so much difficulty with it.
It'd be interesting to know how Pizza Express is doing.
I have no idea. I know Domino's is because of this article. Administrations were appointed to DC London for Pie Limited, which operates Pizza Hut UK restaurants on Monday, whilst the global brand owner, Yum brand, stepped in to save the remaining 64 pizza restaurants and 1,276 jobs. Pizza Hut is well known for its family-friendly dining and salad bar, but its UK business has been struggling and had previously got into administration less than a year ago. In 2 years, this is the second administration. 2 years, Britain. And it is. It's a 90 thing. Me and Chris, when we used to go there, we used to roll in. We'd sit down. We'd have a pizza. We'd have a yammer about what we were doing years ago. Jesus, we ain't been in a year, man. That's a mad thing. Because I was thinking,
all the parties I used to go to.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. And this is, many of you youngsters probably who watch our show don't know what that was like, but this is before the advent of online delivery, by vastly advent of online.
You had to go places.
You had to go to places when you wanted to do stuff together. Administration FDI Consulting said DC London Pie have been hit by the combination of challenging trading conditions and increased costs. Cash flow had come under pressure as a result of tax-related obligations. The joint administration will continue to work with employees who have unfortunately been made redundant to ensure that they get the support needed. Joint Administrator Matt Cullen said in a statement on Tuesday, DC London Pie had bought Pizza Hut UK restaurants from insolvency in January this year. Jesus, this year they bought it, and it put them in insolvency.
Shit.
Yeah. It's the base restaurant model. It doesn't work anymore. You can't operate on a base restaurant model on its own. You have to have some form of online
Even
platform.
Mac is meant to deliver it. So.
You have to. You have to. Because you can't survive just on restaurant system alone. The company also owns Pizza Hut's franchise in Sweden and Denmark. Alongside the newly acquired 64 pizza restaurants, Yum brand still owns and operates 343 Pizza Hut deliveries outside and across the UK. This is horrifying, man, because that's like an iconic. It's like some of the other, like when Summerfield went under. Do you know what I'm saying? It's one of them 90 brands that anybody from the 90s would know who Summerfield are. Many of you kids won't. You know, this is one of them old companies. The way Morrison's is going that way these days. Have you seen it? It's been bad. Morrison's is badly being gutted. Morrison's has suffered a horrific blow since they got acquired by an American company that's been selling off their farms and their other assets. Morrison's has had to measure down towards other companies in their same methodology, and it's just been an absolute squeeze for them.
I was wondering why all their like fresh food counters were disappearing.
No, everybody's getting rid of fresh food. Everybody, the whole
fresh food is king.
I know. There are very sort of like I think Marks and Spencer still keeps it. I don't know if Lidl is still keeping it, but I know Sainsbury's, Tesco's, and Morrison's, the big stores, they're getting rid of all of their fresh food counters, or reducing them greatly. Bakeries are going to part bake. It's the whole country's food industry is slimming down from their previously large in-house supermarket behaviour. Supermarket cafes have all gone. They're practically disintegrating everywhere now.
Don't know, man. And the bigger chains taking over them now.
No, what's happening is you're having the supermarkets. From what I know, well, the vague thing I know about it is that they're slowly morphing the space that they had the cafes. They're renting them out to cafe owners to run them independently.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. Like
could you be Costa in that lot?
Yeah, this thing like.
Yeah.
They don't have their own.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's the other corporations that are going in and taking over that space.
Yeah. Because you have the little Costa machines that sit in most supermarkets, and now that people like Costa and that lot and Starbucks are buying entire cafe spaces in these old restaurants. Because as I said, the big supermarkets, they don't want to do them anymore. They don't want to do. They get rid of their varieties. They're getting rid of their fresh fruit. They're getting rid of their in-house stores.
Fresh food is like butchers and freshly made stuff.
It's mad. The British supermarkets are gutting their entire food chains, and I think this strategy is going to backfire.
You know why, don't you? It's cost and it's tax. What thing do we need to want? Do we want to change?
Reform the fucking tax system. Because Rachel Reeves doesn't have a fucking clue. As my boy has said every time we speak about Rachel Reeves, absolutely fucking useless chancellor. A woman is.
Governments won't do it because they're too much in the back pocket of the corporations.
Yeah. You need. No, they're not. They're not. They're 60s socialists. That's the problem. They have 60 socialist ideologies.
I literally looked at how much tax we paid.
Oh,
how much we paid.
Don't you give me a fucking migraine.
No. Literally showed a graph of before World War II, we fucking hardly paid anything. And then after World War II, fuck me. Tax used to range between 10 to 15% for World War II. And then after World War II, it spiked straight into 30s, 40s.
That's because we had an empire.
Yeah.
No, let's be
very. As soon as the British Empire ended, our tax went through the roof.
Of course. Absolutely. And there's a lot to be said about the errors of the British Empire. And we're not going to get into that today. I could go on that for hours. And I'm not talking about the good for the British Empire it did to the British people, Chris. I'm talking about because there was only pseudographic resources. You see what I'm saying? You say our taxes wasn't the thing. We remember we had slave labour. We had horrific standards outside the empire. If you travelled to Africa, you'd have come back a Liberal Democrat during the Second World War. Before, if you had been been born in the late 1800s, and been an intellectual gentleman of the 1900s, before the First World War, you'd have gone to Africa, you'd have gone to India, and you'd have come back and fought for their rights. Because you have this kind of modern, with your modern kind of personality, if you, Chris, were to go back in time, you would be a liberal, screaming about how they treat people. Because if you think the way that the working class are treated now is bad, you would be fucking horrified.
I think we need to be paid more, let alone anything else.
That's what I'm trying to get at. If you think the problems are now, you'd come back a screaming Liberal Democrat in the 1900s. Because any sane modern person...
I'm causing the fucking protests and riots. What the fuck are you all in the 1900s?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying there's no way, if you have a modern addressed mindset and you went back to the 1900s, there's no way you couldn't fight the power of the British Empire. Because it was the America of yesterday. Anyway, we're on a tangent. You're first, mate. Sorry.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go on the lovely one. The latest tactic to bring digital ID. Digital ID. They are going through the corporations. In the UK, corporations are implementing digital ID requirements through the company's House Mandatory Identity Verification, IDV service, which starts on November the 18th, 2025. The new requirement is part of the Economic Crime and Corporation Transparency Act 2023. Will force company directors and persons with significant control, PSCs, to verify their identity to improve the accuracy of the register and combat fraud. For individuals, the government is rolling out a new digital ID scheme for proving the right to work, which will be sorted on phones and accessible via apps. For businesses and companies, directors, mandatory verification. All directors and PSCs of UK registered companies must complete a digital identity verification check starting November 18, 2025. The verification aims to ensure the identity of those running companies, strengthen protections against fraud, and make the companies register and more accurate and transparent. That is the purpose. Yeah.
Coincide with Chris's open ID, digital ID. Croydon has become the first place in the UK to install permanent facial recognition technology.
Well, facial recognition technology has always been about anyway. Just companies choose whether to have it or not. Because believe it or not, half the supermarkets have it.
Croydon is the first place in the UK to install the technology on a permanent basis. On a permanent basis, as part of the Metropolitan's project. Right? Yeah. As part of a Metropolitan Police projects using artificial intelligence to help identify suspects.
So they're using it within the criminal sector.
The problem being is it's a violation of our liberties.
Yeah. I thought it was a case of fact it was already there and then the police only accessed it on a manhunt for somebody.
No, now it's permanently.
It's permanent. That's disgusting. How it works, you can already access the voluntary IDV service through the gov.uk one login portal, which may direct you to a verification partner like the post office or an accredited ACSP. Timeline: individuals who are already directors will need to provide their identity information in the company's next confirmation statement after November 18th, 2025. Thoughts?
Honestly, fuck off.
I think it's their way of trying to implement digital ID through corporations, as they've received massive backlash from us about it. Over 3 million signatures already on that petition, and the government are failing to respond, although I will be covering their latest reaction by the MPs after this.
Because the MPs are fucked off about it.
Yeah, the MPs are backlash of kicking off about it as well now. But the fact that it's almost as if they sidestepped. It really does. They still want to put it in, but they're going through the corporation route to get it put in.
So back with the Croydon thing, because I think this ties in quite well. The private campaigners have warned that this move could have serious implications. Rebecca Vincent, internal director of Big Brother Watch, said that this unprecedented escalation in the use of facial recognition technology across the UK is alarming. Live facial recognition turns every passerby into a walking barcode and treats us as a nation of suspects.
Yeah, it's like you might as well just turn around and get a barcode on the back of your neck, on your wrist, whatever. It won't be long before we have a chip on our fucking hands and we go beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, absolutely not. Fuck off. Fuck, Britain will disintegrate if we start stealing people's liberties.
Yeah, but it's not just Britain. They want to do it globally. You do know that, don't you?
Yeah, they're not going to. The French will never tolerate this. The French, well, let's take an example. The French, many of the Europeans will not back this. I'm telling you this now. The European bloc will tell them to fuck off. Multiple times.
But you see that. Their lovely new border security thing with the biometric system, includes European people, which means that they've already set in the groundwork for it.
Oh, absolutely. But I'm telling you this now, there will be a fight back because the French will never have their liberty fucked with. I've got nothing but mad respect for the French people because they will fight for their liberty tooth and nail. Where Britain is, we better just go along with it. Like me and Chris are some of the people who moan about it. But for the most part, our country is quite complacent.
Well, I ain't fucking signing up for it. They could go kiss my fucking ass. They got my details as it is.
Me and you are the kind of people who will complain about this kind of stuff. The problem being is the bulk of our country won't. The French, they go fucking nuts. You fuck with a Frenchman's liberty, you are asking for a punch-up.
I think I might move to France.
I'm serious. They don't take that. You learn French, you move to France, you say, why did you come here? I wanted to enjoy French liberty. Welcome. They are mad about that. I'm telling you. The French are crazy. You fuck around with a Frenchman's liberty, and you as an Englishman said, I learnt French to come to your country to enjoy the liberty that your republic gives, you will find you will make 1,000 friends very quickly because the French are very, very funny about that stuff. They do not allow people to fuck around with their liberty.
Well, they're trying to establish the
European was. Yeah.
In America, they're trying to establish a digital groundwork so they can turn around and do it there as well. And they're already kicking off in America about it.
America is another country where you fuck around with their liberty enough. I mean, Donald Trump's suffering that now. Let's take an example. His ICE business. He's having to use National Guards in America because his states, the Democratic states, are just going like that, and the people are having none of it. And I think Donald Trump might not make his fourth term. Might not make his full term. I think he might get pushed out because the people will threaten the powers that be. I have a funny feeling that this ICE business is going to backfire. Anyway, moving on. Third survivor quits grooming gang inquiry panel. A third abuse survivor has resigned from their role in the government inquiry into grooming gangs. Elizabeth, not her real name, joined Fiona Godden and Ella Reynolds, who quit the inquiry victim and survivors liaison panel on Monday in protest. In a resignation letter, Elizabeth said the process felt like a cover-up and had created a toxic environment for survivors. Safeguarding Minister Jess Phillips has denied claims of a cover-up and insists her government was committed to exposing the failures to tackle these appalling crimes. Elizabeth, who is from Rotherden, said she felt the process of being scripted and predetermined, rather than emerging from honest, open dialogue with survivors. This sense of control and staged management has left many of us questioning whether our voices truly matter or whether we are being used to legitimize decisions that have already been made. She has a point. She has a fundamental point. Survivors have been concerned that if people are already giving up on inquiry, it will not be able to gain the trust and confidence of others affected. There is also frustration around the length of time it has taken to appoint a chairperson, with some seeing this as a delay tactic because of fears of what might be exposed. The government is under pressure to come up with a plan that satisfies the survivors at the heart of the scandal. Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer announced in June that would be a national inquiry into grooming gangs covering England and Wales, with a panel of surveyors set up to oversee the process. However, a chairperson has yet to be appointed. The BBC has been told former senior social worker Anna Hudson, who had been named as a potential chairperson, has withdrawn following recent media coverage over her candidacy. One of the other names being considered is former Deputy Chief Constable Jim Gable. A meeting between Ms. Gable and survivors took place earlier, with both sides said to have listened to each other's perspectives. Ms. Goddison and Ms. Reynolds has raised concerns about the suitability of the candidate shortlist to chair the inquiry, arguing they should not be a background in policing or social work. They have every right to say that.
The thing that ties in with your thing as well, the Mayor of London rejects the investigation.
No, I know. Let me be very clear as a Muslim. Sadiq Khan's a fucking snake. Right? There are very few Muslims who think that motherfucker represents us. He's a snake. He's a dirty Labour snake. Dirty, dirty bastard. I don't like him. I've never liked him. I've never liked him even when he became fucking mayor and I was visiting my mum down there. Fucking hate that guy. with undying passion because of the way he treats Londoners. Like, he's some sneering fucking socialist. Not a fan of 𝐶𝐫𝐶𝐿. Never have been.
But we need to crack down on the grooming gangs. We need to
absolutely. But we need to focus on the whole grooming gang thing, not just the 3% that represents the ethnic minorities.
The grooming gangs, we just need to clamp down on all of it.
Yeah, absolutely, completely. Yeah. And you won't find a Muslim who disagrees with that.
I can guarantee you there'll be a knock-on effect. Since we clap down on the grooming gangs and hard, like proper hard, go all like balls to the wall.
Do you know why?
Literally snuff them out.
Do you know what the scary thing is? I think the reason that the government is not just holding back because there are other. I've got a gut feeling that friends of MPs might get exposed if that goes too far.
I don't give a flying fuck.
No, that's what I'm trying to get. I don't think it's such an easy thing to say. They don't want to blame ethnic minorities. I don't think the Labour government give a fuck. He's too authoritarian for that. I don't think he cares that much about that. I think it's because if they dig up enough, they're going to uncover shit that no one in the political sphere wants out in the open.
Good. Because then that means you're bloody...
Because you only have to watch the BBC's every couple of years. Remember a few podcasts back when I mentioned about every couple of years the BBC has a fucking sex offender, a gay predator, a child molester, shit like that coming out. This tells you what the elites, certain elites of Britain's London does. So if the government digs down enough, pulls up all of the, and then let's include the Rotherham gang, let's include the Pakistani and fucking child molesters, all of them. But once you drag all of that out, you're going to drag some of the worst shit out as well, which is at the back of that room with people who Jimmy Savile used to have fucking deals with. People like that. Yeah? People who sat down and had dinner with Jimmy Savile. That cunt hasn't been dead less than 20 fucking years. And every so many years, the BBC has somebody coming out, MasterChef, news reporters, they're coming out of the woodwork. And if that happens at the BBC, it's going to happen in the corporate world. If it's going to happen in the corporate world, this is why I think this inquiry, we're not even talking about the 3% migrants, the Pakistanis, the brown people part of it, which is what much of the British press like to hawk on about. That's not our problem. When we pull this whole dirty nest up, I guarantee you there'll be some corporate motherfuckers in there.
I would literally... If I was the head of the Justice Department, I'd turn around, we're doing this investigation, I'm making it law.
You'd be fired. You'd be fired.
I'd literally turn around and say, you impede it, you're being arrested for obstruction of justice, regardless of your rank.
Chris, Britain is not America. You don't have the police do not have the legal protection that the American police do.
I'd lure up. Straight off the bat.
I'm telling you, if the Met Pol fucking chief went after some of the real... I don't know this, but I suspect if he went after the real kiddie fiddlers in this country, the fucking corporate owners, the people who like their little boys and little girls at a really, really young age, I'm telling you this fucking now, he would be out of a job or assassinated.
It needs to be done.
Oh, of course, absolutely. And that's the disgusting thing about it. Elizabeth said she had seen selective narratives being promoted, ones that appeared to serve particular agendas, especially around issues of race and the narrative of widening the scope. She told the BBC she had wanted a chair who was legally trained and impartial. That's completely fucking reasonable choices. Elizabeth, I'm completely with you with that, yeah? We need to get past this point about race. We need to widen the entire scope. We need to drag up all of the bad blood that's involved in it. We need to exercise the fucking kiddie fiddling grooming gangs. We know there's more than 3% of them are involved with Rotherham. There's a whole fucking bed of this nastiness. And I guarantee you, underneath all of that, there's going to be a lot of middle-aged, rich, white motherfuckers because it's the type of evil shit they do. Okay, because you only have to take a bird's eye view of Western, specifically British politics, and see the occasional one popping up. Yeah, news reporters, Jimmy Savile, people like that. That guy who says, "Do you want me to kill myself?" I can't remember. He was on the children's program. Philip Schofield. Philip Schofield. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You have people like this. If these people are part of this group. That's why I suspect, Elizabeth, that they don't want to pull it up because they know what they'll find underneath it. The 3%, the 3 to 4% grooming gangs that are part of the ethnic minority, they need to be sacrificed as a Muslim. That kind of face needs to be sacrificed to pull the rest of that garbage up so we can see a very laid bare, evil part of our country.
And I can guarantee you, we do that, I reckon immigration will start dwindling off as well, because that'll have a knock-on effect.
I know. I don't think so.
Illegal migration.
Illegal migration.
Yeah.
That you might be right about.
Yeah.
I think one of the critical things is if you pull up the worst of this effect, what you will quickly find is that the Western society will realise that the immigrants only are the tip of this iceberg. The rest of it represents a rotting core of Western leaders. And that's why the Western leaders only want to show you, oh, it's just these dirty brown people. It's not. It's fucking not. Britain has some rotting problems at its core, and we need to drag it all up and exercise it like the fucking demon it is.
We need to cleanse our soul.
Absolutely. In a further statement on Tuesday, Ms. Goddard reacted angrily to Phillips' comment and labelled her denial a blatant lie. Ms. Goddard said that there was many members of the survivor panel who were not victims of grooming gangs, but different types of child sexual abuse and exploitation, and that only these individuals were pushed for a wider inquiry. Home Office spokesperson said that the inquiry will remain laser focused on grooming gangs. See, this is what I have a problem with. Grooming gangs are only a portion of these problems. We genuinely see. This is where I disagree with you, Ms. Connor. I think we need to pull this whole thing up. Everything, the inquiry should be pulling everything. We can't focus solely on just the grooming gangs. We need to pull up the focus on all child molesting. The fucking tin works, lock, stock, and barrel.
It may be a case that you need to chip at it.
Yeah.
So the grooming gangs would be the start.
Yeah.
That's good, because obviously if you said if it is embedded as much as what you think, you need to chip at it bit by bit.
The reason I have these gut feelings about why it does that is you only have to see British society occasionally dropping off fucking kiddie fiddlers. I said Philip Schofield, 𝐬𝐮𝐻𝐬𝐿, the news
gay.
No, but he was talking to an underage or 17. I think he was 17-year-old lad or something like that.
Did he actually do anything with the lad?
I don't know, but that was what caused his collapse. There was a full inquiry about it.
I see. Obviously, I don't know the full picture on Philip Schofield. I know he was talking to a minor, but then I also understand, obviously, with kids having access to everything else. Was it just a simple case of just a friend person just saying hello to a celebrity, or was he actually, as it's called, doing the wrong and having a proper conversation with a minor?
He was 15 years old at the time when he met him.
When he met him,
he was 15 years old.
No, that's in that case. No, you need to find.
Yeah, 15 years. I've just looked it up. Listen, this is the example, and that's not the worst one. You know what I'm saying? That's bad that he was having a social conversation with a 15-year-old in that sexual connotation being gay.
I would avoid that. That's, especially since you're such a big...
An on-off relationship with a young male colleague in ITV, which was confirmed in May 2023. He first met the colleague when he was 15 years old. You can understand, can't you?
Mm-hmm.
How that becomes a problem. They say that it was only because they had a relationship. He's a boy, Chris. You can see it. White-haired man, boy. Admittedly, it wasn't sexual with him when he was 15. Let's be very, very clear. But he knew him since he was 15, and they had an on-off relationship. And then he came to. Then he got him his job. He got him his job in the BBC. You know what I'm saying? You can tell. You can smell the nepotism from here.
The disturbing fact is the massive age gap, and quite clearly the influence.
Schofield pretty much got him his job. This morning,
so obviously, people look upon a massive age gap just between standard straight people. It's questionable. Yeah.
But the fact that he was a minor when they started having a communication relationship.
I think that's the issue, isn't it?
Yeah, of course, absolutely it is. And that's one of the benign ones. I want to be very clear this was benign. They weren't involved in a business. They weren't having business until he was an adult. So I'm not accusing Schofield of anything wrongdoing beforehand. Let me be clear. Neither me or Chris are accusing him. We're saying because he brought it into the BBC, he had a mentorish kind of relationship with him.
That's and then, I was thinking of.
Yeah. And then knew him since he was 15, and then they got into a relationship with each other. This is where culturally for a news presenter, not because he's gay. We don't give a fuck he's gay. It was the path that was taken is where Britain has a problem. And this is one of the benign ones.
I try to think about the other ones.
𝐬𝐮𝐬𝐽, the news reporter, had child porn on his phone, on his laptop. So do you understand where I'm coming with these problems?
Where the fuck do people get this fucking shit?
I don't know. I'm horrified.
The only thing I'm thinking of is the dark web.
Yeah. Nowadays, absolutely. Just the problem being is this is where I draw my conclusions. The British inner society, the elite of our society, are sick to the core, and we need to be more attentive towards this. I don't think it's a socialist problem that everyone are making out involving the third person's resignation. I think it's more third survivor. I genuinely think it's more a academical problem of what happens when all of this is pulled up from the root. Over to you, my boy.
On to the lovely one. Tempers flare as MPs clash over digital ID while petition nears 3 million signatures.
Yeah.
Ministers have faced a furious backlash over plans to bring in digital ID, and the plans being weighed up by the government. Identification will be needed to prove a person has the right to work in the UK. But MPs lined up to warn about the dangers of the scheme, claiming hackers would feast upon personal data and authorities would be able to monitor a citizen's every move. More than 2.9 million people have signed a petition calling for the plan to be scrapped, defending the proposal. Labour frontbencher Ian Murphy accused critics of pending myths about the plans and said it was about reconnecting citizens with the government. No, it's about you taking control, you pieces of shit. Let's get to that right.
We don't want you controlling our personal details. Fuck off.
It's already been proven. You don't even mention the freaking goddamn immigration anymore, the illegals' right to work, so the fact we've already debunked it. And we're starting to debunk everything else at the same time because you think we're all dumbass cunts when really you're the dumbass cunt Thinking you can implement it.
It's not going to work. They've got no chance of getting it to implement.
SNP MP Pete Wishart told Westminster Hall debate that the digital ID would be alien to the British people, and he warned that the prospect of Nigel Farage getting into government and having access to the wealth of data scares me half to death.
Me too.
This is the thing that concerns me. Oh, you go away.
Yeah, no, it does. It concerns me too.
Yeah. Mr. Murray hit back. Digital ID is not mandatory. This is the thing that I'm getting pissed off about. Yeah. 1 minute it's mandatory, next minute it's not. It is, it's not. It is, it's not. Make up your fucking mind, because of the fact if you make it mandatory, we're all going to stick that up to you. And if you don't make it mandatory, it's going to take so hard you think, well, they fucked it up, all the money into it. Get the hint, you pieces of shit of government. We don't fucking want it. Yeah? I've already suggested a fantastic idea if you want to tackle the illegal migration. Yeah? And that is literally to put a face photo on your national insurance card when you come of age to work, and that will solve quite a hefty chunk of your problems, because once there's a face to the national insurance number, because the fact that's where most of them are getting in at the moment, because there's nothing to correspond to, bang, you restrict that access even further. You need to tighten the belt on how they get into it, not impose restrictions.
To be fair, we need to clamp down more on the illegal trades. We need better identifications towards the care homes. I've said this before. We need better identifications involving the food industries and the Uber drivers. We need to tackle where they make the money.
That's where the idea of me going photo ID on the national insurance card, because everyone needs to have their national insurance number to apply for the job. Yeah,
some jobs you don't.
Yeah.
That's the point. We need to update that as well.
Do that so that every job requires a national insurance number. Slap a photo ID onto the national insurance number. Bang! You've literally turned around and got that very loose belt and gone straight off the bat.
And you need to start punishing industries that don't implement it. That's the very big
and
effect.
Then put penalties on the people that turn around and try to do the back way. Yeah? Straight off the bat, you're tightening that loose. You're not pissing off the general public. If anything, you're going, okay, we're incentivizing the general public to make sure all your legal documents are in line, and it's forcing out the illegal migrants to attempting to get work because of the fact we're tightening the belt. That's the way you need to do it. I don't know why the fuck you think digital ID is a bloody good idea. I really do not. Stop looking at frigging Lithuania and fucking China and everywhere else because of the fact there is only one way that works, digital ID, and that is it to communism.
No.
Totalitarian rule, yeah? Which us Brits will tell you to fuck off if you think you're enforcing that, especially this lot of generations. And if when I eventually have kids, I'll install that in them too. Our right to do what the fuck we want will remain. And I will say it again until the dying breath. You work for us, not us for you.
Yeah.
Get that right, government.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Government needs to understand that. The British government has assumed compliancy for far too long. And I'm personally sick to the back teeth of it. And this was a core factor of why me and Chris put this podcast together. Because we feel that Britain doesn't voice its objections enough. And that Parliament takes the fucking piss. And has done so time and time and time again.
Further on the article, it's not compulsory in this country to have a passport, but it's mandatory if you want to travel on a flight. And he said that the proposed cards, you won't be asked to show it, you won't be asked to produce it, and there's not a whole host of cases that would be voluntary for us to do that. He also insisted they will not be called Brit cards, which was the name suggested in the report over the summer. Mr. Wiltshire, who pledged to oppose the plans at every opportunity, told MPs, once again, we have a government helplessly assuring us that it is a benign, benevolent scheme designed purely to make life easier for the general public, like a Tesco Club card, but it's all about having to find your utility bills ever again. It's nothing more than a boarding pass. It's a sort of, don't you worry your silly little heads about the massive data collection or our newfound ability to monitor you, your every move. We are the UK government. That says it all.
Yeah.
They're trying to downplay it because they want control.
Absolutely. And again, as Chris just said, I'm not really that fussed about the inept, mildly authoritarian socialists that we've got in power. Keir Starmer's an asshole, but he doesn't try. Fucking Farage gets his hands on this stuff. You're all fucked. Do you not grasp that?
No government should have this power, regardless who the fuck's in charge. Even though at the moment,
the incompetence of Starmer leads me on to be less worried at the moment.
Literally.
3 years down the road, if fucking Farage is getting as good as he is now, that's fucking terrifying.
Now, Farage is playing a very big game at the moment. He's trying to win your votes with this digital ID and everything else. Because of the fact, obviously, I think he's playing a backhander.
Yeah, he wants this power, but he doesn't want to say that.
Yeah. He's opposing it. Well, he's voicing his objections to it. And if it goes through...
He won't replace it. He won't replace it.
I can guarantee you he'll use it when he gets in power.
Absolutely.
Because once people see that power is there and are on the verge of grabbing it, they'll change.
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. You have to fight this now.
It'll take a very strongly moral person to turn around, get into power, and turn around and delete it.
You need. Well, there's a fucking lot of disease deleting. The amount of invasion in British privacy recently has been horrific.
You need someone strong, literally not just morally strong, but also has the power to fight the people which are going to turn around and kick off about it.
Yeah, it's disgusting.
And I can guarantee you, it will not be the public.
It's a disgusting invasion of privacy, and it needs to be stopped. And it needs to be stopped now and up front, and we need to be brutal about our intent. And
I've literally suggested a fantastic way to turn around and combat everything else without impeding on our current freedom and liberties, which I can guarantee you 90% of the country will turn around and take on board, because it is just simply attaching your photo ID to your national insurance number, which is yours anyway, which then prevents it from being stolen and will tighten the belt on the legal work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Simple solution. I don't know why they didn't fucking think of that, because it's already, we've got 2 split systems already in place. Yeah, you got your driver license and your passport, and you can use the same photo for both. Why not just attach it to your national insurance number? Simplicity, people. I don't know what you're thinking to try and take control, because you're greedy little scumbags. And I will say that to them. Freaking my core, you're a bunch of greedy cunts. Go to your next point.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll go off forever.
No, the points are just, Chris. The points are completely just, mate. I don't have any objections to anything you've said. This is one of those rare moments where we've got counterpoints we're not actually opposing. Me being centre left, him being centre right. We fucking hate everything that we've picked out today. Boris Johnson's left the COVID inquiry. Cunt. In a hurry, he'd be pleased not to come back. Papers in hand, Boris Johnson arrived at the COVID inquiry before the sun came up. He was there to answer questions on decisions he made during the pandemic that directly impacted children, and what an impact they had. School attendances, behaviour, screen time, speech and language. We now know that the pandemic had an enduring effect on all of these issues for children. Demand for speech and language support increased markedly after the pandemic. The number of children who are persistently absent from school is still stubbornly high, and school suspensions and exclusions have hit record levels. Each of these issues can be traced back to a part of the pandemic which have been centre to this session of the inquiry of the closing of schools. The decision to shut schools was one decision by Boris Johnson on Tuesday as a personal horror for him, a nightmare idea, but one which he also seemed like the only option at the time. We know now, in March 2020, the government was still maintaining an almost total focus on effort to keep schools open. But last week, the former Education Secretary, Gavin Williamson, told the inquiry ministers about having bitten the bullet and done more to prepare for school closures. We heard in early evidence given to the inquiry that there wasn't even a plan for the closure of schools until the day before it was announced on the 18th of March 2020. That tells you everything about Boris Johnson's government. I want to make stress that this man killed hundreds, if not thousands, of Centurion generations. Britain's care homes lost enormous levels of elders because of Boris Johnson's fuck-ups. And now we're seeing the detrimental effect he's had to children because of the COVID lockdown. The Prime Minister is the worst Prime Minister, in my opinion, we've had in non-wartime.
Mr. Boris.
Yeah. Worst Prime Minister. Worse than even Neville fucking Chamberlain, in my opinion. And I know many politicians will be horrified to hear that. I think Boris Johnson was worse than Neville Chamberlain because of the actions he caused towards British peacetime society.
Little side note, do you realise it was like 3 years since a head of lettuce left state?
Fucking Jesus. That is terrifying. This was described as an extraordinary declaration of duty in the evidence of Sir John Collis, Chief Executive of the United Learning Trust. But on Tuesday, the former PM pushed back on these claims. If you look at the sequence from February onward, it's clear that 𝐟𝐨𝐫𝐷, Scientific Advisory Group for Emergencies, is talking about the possibility that Cabinet is discussing it in March. Certainly, I remember the subject coming up repeatedly, he said. It is right to say 𝐟𝐫𝐷 had referred the prospect of mass school closures in February 2020, but the top civil servants at the Department of Education, DfE, at the time, Jonathan Slater, wrote in his evidence submitted to the inquiry that DfE contingency plans were permissed on the assumption that schools and other education centres would remain open. So Boris is caught lying already. And Wilson told the inquiry last week that his ability to plan for closures was impeded by Downing Street. It all pointed to the chaos of the decision-making process at the heart of the government at the time, something explicitly referred to in early evidence by the former Child Commissioner Annie Longfield. It wasn't clear who had responsibility for planning for children at the time, she said. What is now clear is that there was no love lost between Johnson and Wilson, the people with the highest responsibility for children welfare at the time of the pandemic. Last week, we saw the expletive-laden ranted Williamson text to his former boss in which he lamented the abuse he had received from the government's decision to shut schools the day after reopening them in January 2021. And on Tuesday, Johnson was confronted with his own leaked messages to his advisors in which he suggested he wanted to fire those in the DEF after the exam results fiasco of August 2020. Motherfucker, you closed the schools? Of course the exams were going to be fucking shit. You're useless. You're fucking... Oh, it makes my blood boil. That is probably the worst fucking Prime Minister. Keir Starmer's bad. He's incompetent, yeah? Incompetent. He hasn't fucked up our country Boris Johnson level. He now says that he did a heroic job of trying to cope with the pandemic. Lying fucking bastard. Lying bastard.
Could it have been handled better?
Yes.
More than likely. Yeah.
Yes, Boris Johnson not be handling it.
Yeah.
That would have handled better. You could have put an inept fucking civil servant in charge and done better.
Worse. Could have definitely gone worse.
This was described as an insult by the Liberal Democrats to the true heroes of the COVID pandemic, the teachers and doctors, nurses and key workers who put their lives on the line to keep critical public service going. I fundamentally find anything that Boris Johnson says is a bunch of waffling bullshit. And the man should be prosecuted, in my opinion, for gross negligence, for the murder of all the elders and the depredation he's caused to children because of COVID.
Right. I just want to make a lovely little point before he continues his rant. Yeah. As much as Boris is under spotlight due to his actions during COVID, regardless who was in charge, they would have had a difficult time and would be accused of shit. Could Boris have turned around and done stuff differently and made better choices? Absolutely. Yeah. But he's now facing the consequences of his actions.
I think we should have sacked him sooner. He should have been sacked during COVID.
No, not during COVID. That would have made things worse.
No, I don't think so. Chris, I don't think we could have had it worse.
Well, it depends on who would have took over and start off with.
It wouldn't have been Head of Lettuce because she wouldn't have been able to handle it.
That's what I mean. As much as the idea of sacking him during the COVID, obviously, pandemic, I think it come up several times. Yeah, during it.
Fucking useless.
I think they were more concerned about the fallout or the difficulty of transition from one to the other and how they would actually handle it.
Whilst under COVID. Yeah, okay.
Under COVID,
okay.
So,
I fundamentally think that man should have, at the end of the COVID, he should have been gone there and then.
At the end, understandable, but during, that would probably cause more harm than good, despite the fact the harm he done anyway.
Yeah, September 2022. 2 years later. We should have got rid of him literally straight after COVID.
That's obviously, I'm not denying COVID was atrocious, because it was. Obviously, the fact that the government managed to hold it to some respect together, is what was required. Could they have done a better job?
Fuck yes. The Tories fucked it up.
They could have done a better job, absolutely, with better decision making. But unfortunately, that's now in the past. Boris now does need to face up to obviously the consequences of his actions. I'm sorry, dude, but you're going to have to.
Yeah.
You should have known this at the time of obviously the COVID happening, that you was going to get backlash regardless. I don't care what PM was in charge, even if you had the best PM in the entire
the COVID lockdown was a mistake.
Yeah,
I think the way it was handled was horrible.
Regardless who was in charge, what PM it was, they would still be facing backlash now. Yeah, that's one thing I need to get across. As much as it may sound I'm trying to defend Boris,
He's not.
I'm just saying, regardless.
He's talking about prime ministers in that situation.
Yeah, regardless who was in charge, it was going to be hard. Yeah, you would have got backlash regardless. Yeah, could you have minimised the backlash and made better decisions? Absolutely. Yeah.
COVID party. Remember, Boris was partying during COVID.
Yeah.
Cunt. Absolutely cunt. Anyway, I better get off this subject because I'll fucking go on all day. Let's switch back over to what Chris has got. Because I can rant about Boris for hours.
Right. The lovely UK inflation has unexpectedly stuck at 3.8%. This is shocking to the lovely predictions people.
And I bet the Rachel Reeves is loving this. Your nemesis is probably having some of this. Finally.
No. She ain't out of the woods yet. She, as he says, Rachel Reeves, but she still remains under pressure despite being handed a small bonus after the data showed inflation remained unchanged in September. Inflation has been forecast to rise as high as 4% by economic experts, but remained at 3.8%. Fuel prices have contributed to keeping inflation high, but the good news for consumers came with food prices falling for the first time since last May. Yeah.
Fuck for that.
Yeah. They're still high, but they have decreased. Yeah.
They're still not post-COVID.
No. There'll still be significant pressure on the government as it prepares to deliver its budget next month, as inflation remains far above the Bank of England's 2% target. The bank has needed to maintain high interest rates in a bid to combat inflation, which has contributed to high borrowing costs for public finances, which figures yesterday showed has grown by nearly 100 billion this year. The government set target of 2% inflation is not expected to be seen until at least later part of 2026. My ass. Unless you do something drastic, I doubt that. Though many experts have suggested high inflation and global political instability, along with uncertainty of the UK budget next month, means that interest rates might not be cut more than once more before the middle of next year. I literally, within the next paragraph, it literally just said my ass. It just proved my ass. There you go. Following the independent live coverage of the latest financial, stock markets and business news here. But yeah, the inflation. Yeah, the inflation has, I'm going to say, temporarily halted at just under 4%. How it goes from here is highly dependent on Reeves.
We're fucked, are we? Are we fucked?
I'm going to call her reluctant Reeves from now on. Reluctant to do fucking anything right.
I think as a chancellor, she really has. I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate because I know how much you don't like her, but she is recovering from a fucking 14-year Tory. That's a hard job, however you look at that.
You know how I would have done it.
Yeah, of course.
I'm brutal.
Yeah, of course. But she's recovering a 14-year transition. So that needs you take a little bit of your bile out of your speak when it comes to that. You remember first year, 14 years of Tory.
She's dealing with a lot, but the fact that her main promise was not to raise taxes, which she's already done once.
Oh, yeah.
And she's potentially on doing it twice. Yeah, once was diabolical enough. Twice? What the fuck is wrong with you, woman?
Yeah.
Yeah? You wonder why you're one of the most hated people in the fucking country. Yeah? You're freaking tightening our fucking wallet. You wonder why we're going, fucking get out.
Yeah, every Briton is feeling it. Every one of us.
Yeah.
Not enough tax, not enough hours.
As soon as we're on it, we're going to go straight into Rachel Reeves crisis on borrowing. What's rally? Yeah, let's continue the fucking rant, shall we?
My God. Yeah. So we've had a brief moment where we were like, okay, she might have got the inflation problem sorted a little bit. She might have got that sorted.
Bang, straight under the hammer you go. This is absolutely brilliant for us saying if Britain was a house, it would be on the verge of being repossessed.
Hey, that's most Western economies right now. Yeah. No, that's most Western economies. That's not fair.
After official new data reveals Rachel Reeves oversaw borrowing rise to a staggering 20.2 billion.
Yeah, that's not that
last
bad.
Month.
Nah, whoa. I remember the year. Last, Jesus Christ. I thought you meant, that's not bad.
No, last month.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
That's an oh, shit moment. My apologies. I thought you meant Rachel Reeves was 22 billion for a year. It's a bit much, but last month? Bitch, what are you doing?
The new deficit figure will heap more pressure on the Chancellor Rachel Reeves to make even more drastic tax rises.
My money.
That could hurt millions of hard-working Britons when she delivers her autumn budget next month.
Fuck it.
The UK government September 2025 borrowing rise to 20.2 billion marks the highest September figure for 5 years. The Office of National Statistics said the figure means the government spent more on public sector than it received in taxes over income in September, requiring to borrow billions of pounds.
You know, when you said 22 billion, my first, that's not bad for a year, Chris, for a developed country. You'd be proud of that if that was you for a country.
20.2 billion for the year. I'll be like, I've done a good job.
22 billion for a month? You're fired.
Someone's head's rolling.
Chris going into the treasury with a fucking fire axe. Who gets this?
Public sector net borrowing was 1.6 billion higher than the same month last year, with the ONS explaining that income from Reeves' recent national insurance and tax hikes were offset by debit interest public sector pay rises and benefit rises.
Oh my God. Oh,
this is where I'm going to turn around and say what we say every freaking time.
Fix the fucking tax system.
Change the fucking tax system. That's the only way.
You need to streamline it. You need to completely streamline the tax system.
The only way we're going to increase the amount of tax that corporations pay instead of us footing the fucking bill.
The national bill has moved in 100 years, as I know, I repeat this every so often, from us, the public, from the corporate. 100 years ago, corporations paid the bulk of Britain's taxes.
That ties into my tax graph, which I was saying earlier. Before World War II, public taxes were on the graph, but they were a thin line compared to everything else. Yeah. But as soon as it come after World War II, where the empire ended,
the corporations didn't want to carry the weight.
Corporations didn't want to carry the weight. Literally, and I'm not going to lie, the corporation tax graph literally stayed about the same thickness as well as the other one, and the public tax space fucking exploded.
Yeah.
It literally, you could find the other two and it still would not measure up for the amount we pay.
Yeah. No, it's bad. Mad levels of tax.
Seems facts that the entire amount of tax the government was getting in was, if I think correctly, was around about 15 to 20%. It shot up into the 40s.
Fucking unreal.
And that's because of the fact they start collecting more tax off us.
Absolutely fucking absurd. I mean, to be fair, yeah, as I said, and I know the shock on my face was that Chris was just amused at it. You know, if that had been 22 billion for the year, I'm like, that's not bad, Chris.
No,
you know, that's not bad.
20.2 billion for the year, I'll be going, well done. You actually turn around and actually holding quite a good seat. But 20.2 billion in a month.
We got a problem, Reeves.
Yeah.
Someone in your accounting department needs to be fired.
August borrowing figure has also been the highest recorded for that month since the onset of the COVID pandemic.
Christ.
Yeah.
When we were paying companies not to go bust.
Yeah. Borrowing in the current financial year, March and September, was nearly 100 billion. And the second highest amount monthly records began in 1993 on the ONZ and only beaten by the lockdown's years figure from 2020.
Oh my God.
Anxious financial experts have been quick to highlight and angrily slam the current, previously state of the UK economy, perilous state of the UK economy. Just in May, managing director of Chelmsford-based 𝐬𝐻MF Mortgages said, if the UK were a property, it would be on the verge of being repossessed. I love that sentence. I really
do. No, he's probably right. When you look at that statistics, 22 billion in 1 month.
That's how my tax the situation has become. If the government applied for a mortgage, it would fail miserably on affordability, with no clear means of repayment, coupled with a worsening credit file. Without its own self-credited route of borrowing, the government would have bankrupted the UK and had to go to the IMF soup kitchen, just like Labour did 50 years ago.
Ooh, fucking hell.
Yeah, this is just disgusting. Hence the reason why I'm not a keen advocate of Reeves. It's
an understatement.
Yeah.
He'd like to politically, and I say this politically, murder her career.
Yeah.
We don't talk about.
No, when it comes to her personal business, you keep that in your house. That's it. Yeah.
Fair 22 billion in one fucking month.
1 month. If every month was like that for a year, I'm sorry, Reeves' political career would have ended in 4 months if I was in charge. Yeah.
Fucking
Actually, it would have ended in 2 months of that. I would be screaming.
Damn! Fucking damn! That's
because we need to be paying off our debt, not borrowing more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, streamline the debt, streamline the tax system. Fix the fucking tax system.
The only way we're going to get out of this hole is by paying off the debt. The only way to pay off the debt sensibly is by restructuring the tax system so it's fair upon everybody.
And the corporations start paying.
There's no backhole loopholes, no nothing. Absolutely jack shit of a back door. And then make it
no non-doms, no inside trading,
absolutely nothing. You got to do
no mates rates. Fuck all of that.
Yeah, and then turn around and make it law that if the tax system was to change, I'm going to go harsh and go 3/4 of the public must turn around and vote that it must be changed. Not 2/3, 3/4.
Yeah, you yeah, that's how you do it. That's how you change it.
And then literally I can guarantee you that will not change for quite some time.
Oh, absolutely. You'd probably see people actually moving back to the UK who finances because the tax system would be fairer.
Doing that would literally, it will start to boost the economy, reduce our debts, give more money to
for
the
value,
people.
More value for money for
more
company.
value for money, more money to the people, so they can then turn around and actually
spend more in the economy
and everything else, and scrap the fucking digital ID system because they want to turn.
Oh no, that would be, Chris. That would be burnt to the ground.
No, I would burn that to the fact the way they want to do it is freaking social credit system and carbon footprint and everything else, which if you look on, which has already been proven on NatWest and the Royal Bank of Scotland, credits, carbon footprints have already been attached to your payment system.
Disgusting.
And even though it says it's a voluntary in and out system, the fact that it can come on straight like that, which means that already monitoring it, you're just volunteering in whether you want to see it or not. That is the difference.
Fucking disgusting.
If you turn around and opted into it and it says it's going to take a couple of months to come through, that means they're not monitoring it. But at the moment you go, I want to opt in, and it's straight there, they're already keeping track. They've already developed the system. They've already put the backbone in. Hence the reason why the digital ID needs to go out the fucking window.
Absolutely.
Along with Reeves and Stammer.
Stammer, definitely. I mean, wishy-washy Prime Minister.
And anyone else that supports the bloody goddamn digital ID. I'm sorry. Out you go.
Anyway, on to me.
Yeah.
My last item. Labour feels the heat in the critical Welsh by-election test. The history of Labour Party oozes out of the valleys of South Wales, perhaps like nowhere else in the UK. Keir Hardley, the founding figure of the party, was elected to Parliament in Meretalith in 1900. Annie Bevan, the founder of the NHS, was elected MP of Ebron Valley in 1929. Even in recent years, when the so-called Red Wall of former Southern of Solid Labour seats in many parts of the north of England and Midlands crumbled with Conservatives as the benefactors, much of the South Wales stuck with Labour. The Red Wall and plenty more besides have since swing back to Labour, but now things seem to change in Wales. Local sentiment polling and the mood within the party all suggest something is up, ahead of a by-election to the Welsh Parliament in Caerphilly. Labour gloom talks to follow folks around the town. There is a deep-seated frustration, a stubborn lack of evidence, as many see it, of things getting better. And then there is a recurring sense of declining sense of community, a sense that the ties that had long been bound the town, the area together, are perhaps continuing to fray. Something which began with closures of the coal mines and loss of much heavy industry has continued. Some feel as so many of us retreat behind a phone screen or increase digital lives, splattering and astounding us further far from each other. In the contributed to political volatility and the dilution of loyalty people may once have had to particular political parties, whenever the contributing factors, Labour are gloomy here, even on the upbeat days. In Caerphilly, they are the essentials of the political establishment. They run the council, they run the Welsh Development Government, and they run the UK government as well. This is, if you are a Welsh Labour candidate, can cause issues. Richard Turnefcliffe, a book publisher by trade, had campaigned in recent weeks to keep some local libraries threatened with closure open. The thing is it is the local Labour councils which run these very libraries threatening with being shut. Awkward much? If Labour is collapsing inside of Wales, we have a real fucking problem for the Labour Party.
Are you really surprised?
Perhaps little wonder Reform UK and Plum Clough are upbeat. Anecdotally, for what it's worth, they both appear to have considerably more posters dotted around the place than Labour does.
I just had a thought.
Go on.
Obviously, Labour's on the brink of implosion.
Yeah. We don't know this, but we suspect that. Well, we know the Conservatives are.
Let's just say on the brink, let's say showing signs of a pending implosion, yeah? Going by what was said. And the fact that they're trying to push this digital ID.
It's going to kill them.
Yeah. Farrell just never said he would actually get rid of it.
Yeah, that's an important factor. We need to point out he's seen to champion against it because it's a popular thing at the moment.
He's voicing his opinions against it,
but he's never said that he would repeal it.
Rid of it.
Plum Clow has, the Greens have, the Liberal Democrats have. Kelly Bennock says it, but I don't believe her for a second. A Conservative giving up power, that would never happen. That would
trying to win, but she's playing the line.
Yeah. There's no way. We know the Conservatives and Reform want that level of power, okay? Which is scary as fuck. The fact that Labour's doing it and the Conservatives and the Reform are saying, oh, this looks dirty, but we're not going to declare that we're stopping. And I think that is a fucking terrifying position to hold on. This country's turning into Orwellian every fucking day.
I'm starting to think that all the parties are underneath the same branch.
It's not all of them. No, I'd say the Greens,
the main set.
Yeah, I think the Liberal Democrats are still the outsiders.
I reckon they're creeping into that lovely circle.
Oh, jeez. Don't. Yeah, I'm trying to sort out my membership cards. Don't. We take over the party, Chris. Beat these fucking insiders out the door.
Set up my own fucking party. What the fuck you? Screw the fucking old names. Let's create a fucking new one and just kick all the old ones out. Time for a refresh, I think.
Jesus.
I think that's the only way it's going to friggin' happen, to be quite honest. To beat the old system is to kick him out.
I think you're probably right. I have a funny feeling that is close to time.
It's just over an hour.
Just over an hour. And it has been an absolute pleasure. We've got quite a bit done today. I'm actually quite pleased with what we've covered.
And there's an idea, people. A name for a new government party.
Yeah. Give us some ideas on what you think we should have as a party. Me and Chris might set it up when we successfully become podcasters. As always, I'm John, Sean, or Yucca. Depends on who you're asking.
I'm Chris. Hope you have a smashing day.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.